So I just saw David Fincher's new film, Mank. Yeah, I've recorded this take about 5 times now, and it sounds just as dumb. Anyways, before we get to my actual thoughts, I just like pad out the runtime of this review for about a minute and 30 seconds by profusely proclaiming my love for David Fincher in an attempt to, quell the like to dislike ratio. Because if the review gets too many dislikes, then that invalidates my opinion.
I can't really pick a favorite director, but I know that David Fincher is my favorite director to listen to. When it comes to advice, interviews, podcasts, anything like that, I'm jumping on it. I love his movies. He's directed at least 5 of my favorites of all time, but I also love film history. If you've seen my A+ review of Citizen Kane, you know I also love that movie. I was very excited at the notion of David Fincher making a movie about the great... What I can say about Mank is that a lot of people will not like this movie.
You're goddamn right.
A lot of people are going to find it very boring.
Damn right.
So does The Social Network being one of my favorite films mean that I didn't find Mank fucking boring? Nah, it was pretty fucking boring.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I could give some trite praise to all the technical qualities of the film, but really, it's a David Fincher film. What were you expecting? Of course it's well made. It's honestly kind of a gimmick movie, similar to recent gimmick movies.
Well, try and keep up.
Where it doesn't really have much of a story, and it's sort of just like,
oh, it's in black and white. It's just like an older film.
It's like, okay. So, the basic structure of the movie is just Gary Oldman sitting on his fucking ass, Dark Knight Rises style, sitting in bed doing nothing, then it flashes back to like, oh, look, this is how he met this person, and they inspired a character in Citizen Kane. Yeah, that's not a sustainable premise for 2 hours and 11 minutes. The biggest problem with the film is that it's a character study where you don't know anything about the main character by the end of it. Just like Inherent Vice, another shitty film by one of my favorite directors, Mank takes the route of, oh, what's that? Our main character doesn't have a personality? Just make him an alcoholic! Whenever films do that, the result is always the same. A fucking bore fest.
Of course it is.
It hardly even felt like it was about Citizen Kane. It was really just like Gary Oldman. He'd like wander into parties where Tywin Lannister was there, and then he'd just be like,
I kind of like socialism.
Now, I'm not saying that the film went woke and went broke, but I'm saying that that's not that interesting. It's like his only other defining character trait besides him drinking alcohol the entire movie. The only thing that's there to remind you that it's about Citizen Kane is like every 25 minutes Orson Welles just calls him up and he's like,
Mank, it's Orson Welles.
Also, I just gotta talk about the title. I know this review's a mess, but I just gotta talk about the title of the movie for a second. Because, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, a family member walked in the room while I was watching the film, and they're like, oh, what are you watching? I was like, I'm watching Mank. And they're like, Meg? I was like, no, not the Jason Statham shark movie, Mank, the new David Fincher film with the shitty title. It'd be like if they called The Social Network Zuck. Like, it's just a dumb title. The entire script for this movie is just such a lazy mess. Like, all the character relationships in this film are just so underdeveloped. Like, there's this whole subplot about Phil Collins' daughter helping him write the script.
Do you like Phil Collins?
And there's a moment near the beginning of the film where she's all like,
my husband. I think he might have died in the war. I'm so sad.
Then, spoiler alert, 2 hours and no character development later, she's all like,
never mind. He didn't die. I'm so happy.
And it's just like, am I supposed to give a shit? Is this supposed to be emotional?
Of course it is.
'Cause it's not.
I'm so sad.
She also gets this really forced Lethal Weapon style moment where, oh, it's time for the characters to like each other because the script says so, and it comes in the form of her asking his maid, like, oh, why is he such an asshole? And his maid's just like,
oh well, actually he likes to drink a lot, but he did help my family escape the Nazis, so if he wants to drink, that's fine.
What an interesting character. Also, I just want to take a minute to talk about the score of the film because, love my boys, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. The other 3 Fincher scores they did are some of my all-time favorites, but this was fine, but it was really just like an imitation of older films without being really that memorable in its own right. I think it'd be way more interesting if they just did their typical style for this film, because it'd be a lot more unexpected in the time period and, be different and interesting. Also, can we just talk about how fucking bad film criticism is in 2020? I mean, not like this review's any shining example by any means. It's pretty shit, but I think there's far worse things you can do, and let's look at an example.
Mank jubilantly leans into the sexism and racism of pre-war Hollywood. Rating F.
There's literally no prevalent moments of racism or sexism in this entire film. Stop projecting your own viewpoint onto this film just because it was set in a different time period. Like, what the fuck is this review for it? Like, really? Also, apparently Hereditary gets a C- because it demonized a transgender spirit. I don't fucking remember this. But it also goes both ways, because apparently Knives Out is amazing because it mentions immigration. Okay. Can we please start reviewing movies based off of their technical qualities and narrative structure again? Like, really? How am I supposed to take anything you say seriously when you use your film reviews as a platform to just whinge about your own political preferences? Oh yeah, Mank. Yeah, it was fucking boring. 4 out of 10. Just watch Zodiac or The Social Network instead. Done. Bye.